Good morning, tribe. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am, and I thought I'd had enough coffee, but apparently not. So here we go. Thanks for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you'd be so kind, do me a quick favor and hit that thumbs up button. Interestingly, it tells YouTube that people are enjoying the stream, and then it helps the replay get shown to folks who couldn't be here live. So thank you. As you probably know, Kit and I are back in the desert, and I got a fun mix of updates for you. We got some Quartzsite Meetup details, some E-Trike adventures, a Black Friday Walmart shower story, a Propane extend-to-stay install with my viewer neighbor Jim, and some big improvements from my newly reinstated 10-minute morning stretch routine. So first of all, leave a comment in the chat. Let me know where it is that you're watching from and what you got in your mug today. That'd be super cool. On a little bit of a somber note, today is Pearl Harbor Day, and I want to offer a brief moment of remembrance for all of those who served and for those we lost. It's a day many of us grew up honoring, and it still carries meaning. All right, let's ease into our coffee talk now. So we're going to start with Quartzsite Meetup plans. It's definitely happening. It's January 16th is the date. We haven't set a time yet. I would be interested in your thoughts around timing. I'm kind of thinking something on the order of like 11 to 2. It's going to be not in town in Quartzsite because we are set right between the RTR and the Big Tent Show. And as I've been thinking about this more and more, what I've been thinking is parking will be a nightmare in town. Just count on that. So I decided to do it a little bit out of town. And I think you'll find that to be pretty fun. So I'm backing up to comments here real quick. We got a good morning from JMKC740. JMKC740, I would love to know what I should call you because that's kind of an awkward name. But thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. And we've got a hi from Barb Connor with a to JMKC740. And good morning, Kit and Sally from Barb. Good morning, everyone from Lisa Roth. And I'm going to fess up. I am actually camped with my two friends, Barb and Lisa, so who are also channel members. So that's all very, very cool. And I'm very, very grateful to have you guys here. And I know that there are some other people on that aren't commenting yet because I can see my my view count is going up. We've got 10 viewers, but only 3 commenting. So go ahead, give us a thumbs up. Put a comment in. Where are you watching from? What's in your mug this morning? That's where we're going to start. So I'm thinking like 11 to 2 for the meetup. If you've got other thoughts, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll be happy to consider those. And in part because it's going to be out of town. Hey, Marie's here. Welcome, Marie. And G Money is it? Well, I can't call you Ginger. I know that. But welcome in from Tampa, Florida. What should I be calling you? Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. So I shared an update in my Trike video with the how to use the What 3 Words app. And that's how I'm going to let you guys know where the meetup is actually going to be. And I can't tell you ahead of time because I don't know. What happens is when I do this, I'm going to leave my current camp the day before the meetup, and I'm going to find a place in the desert that won't be hard to get to, that I think will have enough room for people to be able to park and spread out if they want to. And then once I've determined what that location is, then I will be able to give you the What 3 Words link, and that will end up in a community post. So make sure you're watching. Make sure you got notifications turned on, first of all, and then watch the community post tab to make sure that you see what the location is. And I don't know what time that'll happen either. It depends on how much time I have to spend looking around for a location. I'm hoping not too terribly much, but I think that this is going to be an easier way to work with this, being out in the middle of kind of nowhere rather than trying to park in town. Good morning, Gimbal Girl. All righty. Who we should call Linda. Good to know. And Lisa says she had to refresh the screen in order to post in the chat. Not sure why, though. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why either. But thanks for sharing that. So if anybody's having a trouble being able to post, try refreshing it. You know, like leave and come back in if you have to. That would be the way to get around that. So the What 3 Words app is really very, very cool. And as I shared in the video with an on-screen demo, and I'll probably end up doing another one before the meetup yet, but I love this thing, in part because I think it's fun to find out what the locations are. So, for example, let's see what my current location is, which I'm not going to tell you. Not too far from me, though, is nonfarm.kindness.path. And so the way that this works is, What 3 Words has divided the entire world into 10 by 10 square blocks. And I'm going to show you my screen here. And I'm clicking on one that's just randomly out here in the middle of nowhere. So if you look at my screen, you can see where I clicked on the block, see the white square. And the name of this one backwards, because it's upside down and backwards, is shoplift.threaten.unlucky. That's out by US Highway 95. And look, there he is. There's the Kitster. I know he's the real star of the show. I get that. I get it. All right, so that's What 3 Words. And if you want to get a more in-depth view of what that's like, go ahead and check out the video that came out a couple of days ago about my E-Trike ride to the LTVA kiosk to get my banner, because I gave a demonstration of how you use What 3 Words in there, and you can watch that in the video. I've got a banner ordered for us, and what's really cool is I saved some dollars by buying the pole for the banner in Quartzsite instead of ordering it. It was kind of funny. I was going to order a better quality pole. Yeah. Hi there. Do you want to say hi to the people? Kit, look, they're in there. Kit, they're in. Come here. Here we go. They're in there. Nope, look over here. You're such a goofball. Yes, you are. I was going to order a higher quality pole that was made of fiberglass and wind resistant up to 63 mile an hour winds, yada, yada, yada. And instead I got an aluminum pole in Quartzsite at one of the vendor tents. And the difference is I paid $60 for the pole and the stake in Quartzsite. The fiberglass pole itself was $110, I think. And then the shipping was even more. No, the pole was $107 and the shipping was $120. It's like, wow, costs more to ship the thing than it does to buy it. Go figure. So we didn't get that one. We got the one in Quartzsite instead. And plus, it's nice to support the small business vendors. Quick reminder about Kit for the meetup. Here, come talk about this. So this guy here, he's an attractive nuisance. And I want to remind everybody, he's mostly dog friendly, but he's not people friendly. He's not a people greeter. He does best when he gets as much space as he needs. And most of the time, he will not want to engage with you. The best thing you can do is, unfortunately, don't look at him. Don't reach for him. He has bitten people. And if he is unruly, Barb has graciously agreed that she's going to take him into her RV and let him relax with her while I'm able to interact with the people that are there for the meetup. So, yeah, it's not an ideal situation, unfortunately, but Kit's my special needs Chihuahua. What can I say? You know, when I figured out that he is not only a rescue that's been abused, but he's also a Chihuahua, a rescue Chihuahua, holy crap-a-noli, I had no idea what kind of reactivity I was dealing with. But Barb has graciously said that she'll break camp the day before and come down to wherever we decide to hold the meetup. And then if Kit's unruly, she's going to take care of him for me. So I'm very, very grateful for that as well. So a couple of questions for you guys. Have any of you actually ever used What 3 Words before? And who's thinking about coming to Quartzsite for the season? And who's thinking about coming to my meetup on January 16th? And while you're doing that, I'm going to go back and check the comments real quick. Hey, Marie's in Yuma finally. Woohoo! Good to know. Marie, let's have a little conversation offline. Barb and I are coming to Yuma Tuesday. Kit needs a pedicure. I need a Sam's Club run. And we're planning to go out for an early dinner, and it would be super if you would like to hang out with us there. That would be super cool because I haven't seen you for ages. What else we got? Oh, Angela's here. Good morning, Angela. Lovely to see you here. I'm glad you could join us. Lisa in Fort Wayne. Long time no see. Oh, that Lisa. Hope your travels are going very well. Kisses for Kit. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Lisa that I know, right? Let me confirm that for me. I'm pretty sure that that's true, unless there are other Lisas in Fort Wayne that I don't actually know. Tuesday's here. Hey, hey. Thank you for being here. Marie said, morning, Kit, you handsome little dude. He is handsome. Too bad he's such an attractive nuisance, right? Lisa Ross says, me. I think that's in reference to What 3 Words and the meetup. Marie says she's in. Awesome. Lisa that I know. Awesome. Glad to know that. I haven't seen you for ages, Lisa. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time I was in Fort Wayne. Actually, I think the last time I was in Fort Wayne, I did see you. I think that's true. I haven't been there for a while. Might be coming through this year, though. I haven't talked about next season's travel plans yet, and I'm not going to do that until the next live, so make sure you come back for that one, because I think I know what I'm doing in general, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Might have something to do with the 100th anniversary, though, so there's that. The E-Trike, let's talk about that for a minute. I have been having an amazing time with the E-Trike, not getting as much time on it as I want because, between Thanksgiving and all kinds of other things, just haven't had that much time to be able to ride. I am hoping that I'm going to be able to get out for a ride this afternoon. That's my plan. If nothing else, because I have trash that needs to go to the dump. I know that's Buddy out there, isn't it? I see him. Please don't bark. Please don't bark, Kit. He's very alert. If you've seen the ride up to the LTVA, did you notice the Pigpen moment when the dust cloud was sweeping across the road? And really, that's reinforcement for me that Kit needs goggles. I'm going to get that Amazon order placed today. Speaking of Amazon, if you don't know this, there is an Amazon link in like the very beginning of the channel block description, and it also shows up in the description for every single video. If you use my Amazon link to purchase whatever you're buying, I get a little bit of a commission from Amazon. It's not much, but it does all add up eventually. Ask Barb. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. So the way to do it most effectively, to do it most easily, is put whatever you want to buy into your Amazon shopping cart, then go find my link, click on my link, sign into your account from there, and then check out. And then I get a little commission for whatever is in your shopping cart at that point. Anyway, let's talk about the persona moments while we were deciding that Kit needed goggles. So here's what happened on that ride. Wandering Joe took off for the ride. Practical Patty came to the surface when I got near the entrance station and said, crossing a highway without a helmet is not wisdom, because I forgot to put my helmet on when I left. And then Tinker Tom is going to show up later when I talk about our propane installation down here. So we got the 3 different personas that I like to kind of point out because I think we all have a little bit of each of them in us. But I'm curious, how do you get around when you're traveling? Who else has e-bikes or e-trikes or regular bikes or regular trikes or something else? How do you do it? I'm really curious about that. And have you ever been caught in a dust cloud or a dust devil? Has that happened to you? And what's the effect been like? And I love asking questions because it gives me a chance to go look at comments still. It was last year. It's been that recently, Lisa says. Much going on. Definitely would love to see you next time you're through here. Cool. That would be awesome. And I know where to find you. And Marie says, Pecos had doggles. He hated them. Made for great photos, though. Yeah, that's basically that's what I've got in the shopping cart for Kit are doggles. I'm pretty sure he's going to hate them too. But I also think that especially as the season heats up and there's more people and there'll be more dust, I want his eyes protected. For one thing, I think he's light sensitive too, because when we're out in the sunlight, he does a lot of squinting. Yeah, he's just pretty often squinting at the at the world, and I think having goggles for him would be a good idea. So we went up to the casino in Parker for Thanksgiving. Had a great time there, walked all the way around the casino, toured the whole marina and everything, saw where the campsites are that they were running the boat races from, so no campsites down by the river available for the holiday. But it was a nice, relaxing day. We had a great time. And then part of the reason we spent the night was Barb and I both wanted to go to Walmart on Friday, so we both drove our rigs up to the casino. I was going to have to anyway because I wasn't going to take Kit into the casino for the Thanksgiving buffet, and it was, you know, so he needed to be able to be in his house, and I needed to do that and not have to worry about how long we were going to be in there. But then I decided to spend the night so I could go to Walmart the next day. Well, as I got to thinking about it, I realized I needed to get propane on my way back to camp, and I needed to fill up my water. And I'm thinking, well, let's make sure I've used as much as possible. So I went in, I did all my Walmart shopping. I came out, I took a shower in the parking lot. And I got to say, I think my mother would be rolling over in her grave if she knew that I was showering in a Walmart parking lot. That would just seem completely inappropriate to her. But that's what happened. And a lot of people commented on it in the video too. So obviously I'm not alone in that. So what's the most unusual place that you've ever cleaned up while you've been traveling? Let me know. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go back and look at the comments. And G Money Is It says, you can call me Dorian. Drinking coffee. I have a trike and I just bought a pet carrier. Cool. Dorian, what kind of pet carrier did you get? If you'd let me know. I bought another one for Kid. I'm okay with it right now, but I think I'm probably going to make some other choice. And Gimbal Girl, Linda says, I'm on pins and needles to see Kit in goggles. Yeah, me too. The first thing is going to be, can I get them on him? That'll be a thing. Although he loves putting his vest on. He actually likes playing dress up a lot more than I expected that he would. How did Kit do with the bouncing around? He seems to be just fine with it. Actually, the first mile with the new carrier that I got, which has lower sides on it than the backpack that I put him in initially, the first mile, he kept trying to put his paws up on the side to look out around me because he wanted to look at where we were going. And because it was lower and he's putting all his weight on it, I was afraid he was going to be able to tip it over and fall out, even though he's seat belted into the carrier. And so, two things. I stopped and I attached the carrier to the rack so it could not go completely over, but I still did not want him leaning over the side like that. So he's very teachable with me. He trains really, really fast. So every time he'd put his paws up on the side, I'd just stop the trike. And the first couple of times I actually had to get off and help him do it, but put your paws back inside. And then after we did that a couple of times, he still kept trying to put his paws up, but I'd stop the trike and I'd turn around and tell him to put his paws back inside, and he would. And within probably half a mile or 3/4 of a mile, he just kind of gave up and kept his paws inside. So he's fine with it. What are you? Oh, I know. Come here. Kit, come on up here. Come. I know. You see Buddy. Buddy's busy. And we're busy right now. So you stay with me, okay? You don't need to go yell at Buddy. Okay. Good job. Lisa says, I have a trike, but I haven't ridden it yet. Yeah, we're going to work on changing that relatively soon, Lisa, if I get to have my way. Angela says, mine is a Mini Cooper, barely carrying her driver. My nephew would say, Nana, your hips hanging out looks as a 747 coming down the road. I'm laughing with you, Angela. I'm not laughing at you, I promise. Marie says, definitely great for eye protection. We're talking about the goggles. And Tuesday says, living in the edge. Escape Artist 8581. I'm hoping to get to your meetup coming from the Great Plains in January. Could be tricky. I'll be a first timer in Quartzsite. Well, that's awesome. Escape Artist, what should we call you? I mean, I could call you Escape Artist. I'm fine with that if that's what you prefer, but I kind of like names, and I'm not great at holding on to them like Dorian. I'll get there, I promise. But it does take a little while. Dorian says she's got the one from Electric Bike. Should I return it? Are we talking about the pet carrier? No, that's probably actually a really good pet carrier. I just didn't want to spend that much money because I'm a cheapskate. I want to do it as cheap as I possibly can. And the carrier that I ended up getting is also airline approved. Not that I ever intend to get on an airplane because I really hate airplanes, but just in case I needed one for transport at some point, I've got something good to go. No, no, Lisa, Dorian is talking about they've got a pet carrier that goes into the rack, and I looked at it as I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I looked at it as an alternative because I definitely did not want the trailer. But Dorian can weigh in on that as well. Angela says LMAO on you and Walmart shower, and Kit and his eye gear will be a handsome. Yeah, he will, assuming I can get it on him. Marie says I might sell my bike and get a trike. I get that. If you're not in a rush, you might want to take a look at mine. Well, you can always come to our camp, Marie. So if you want to come up and check mine out before you decide to do that, you're welcome to do that. Angela says, I know Sally. I enjoy humor. My family always enjoy old Nana. She's full of jokes and lots of laughter, which is good to know because that's the way I think everybody should be. I think so. There's a thing called laughing yoga, which I have done years ago. I haven't done it recently. It's pretty fun. An escape artist says, you can call me Ellen. I travel with a truck and a 17-foot trailer. Awesome. Thank you, Ellen. And Dorian says, yes, Lisa, the same as Sally's. Actually, mine is from last Christmas, so it's a year older. Yeah. So, Dorian, I think Lisa's question is, are you talking about the pet carrier from Electric or the trailer to carry pets from Electric? So if you could leave her some info on that, that would be super helpful. Speaking of helpful, first of all, I am really enjoying the fact that you guys are starting to have conversations with each other within the community chats and within the a lot of the comment threads and so forth. I think that's super, super cool because it shows just how much our community is building and the level of trust and so forth that's involved there. And speaking of help from the community, Jim, who is both a neighbor of ours about a block down the desert from us, and also a viewer, which I didn't know until I met him here the first time, came over yesterday. And I would say that he helped me, but in reality, he ended up doing it, which is going to be good for you guys because I filmed it. And what he did was he installed my propane extend-a-stay, which, as you'll see, it's a four-way valve that goes between the service inlet and the regulator on the propane tank on a motorhome. You don't need this on a travel trailer. Their propane systems are completely different from motorhomes. But this is what I needed to be able to have propane from the big tank that the campground provided, that Yellowstone provided when I was there, and I couldn't use it because I didn't have the right connection to be able to use it. So really appreciate Jim for helping out with that. And what's really cool is that all three personas showed up in that video. So make sure you watch that when it comes out, probably later this week, to see where and who showed up there. So I'm curious, who's done an RV upgrade that felt kind of intimidating to you at first, but you were surprised at how easy it turned out to be, or maybe not. Let me know either way. And what's your next RV project? What are you planning to be working on? And again, I'm going to go check in comments here, see where we are. Angela says, I'd like to have a trike. Yep. I'm liking it so far. I mean, I felt a little I felt a little bad about making the decision to go trike versus bike because it to a certain extent, it makes me feel older than I really think I feel I am. But I like to future-proof stuff to the greatest extent possible. And as I'm aging, I know balance becomes an issue. We're going to talk about that a little bit more too, and so on and so forth. And the big reason that I went trike instead of bike was I kept thinking about a bike leaned over on the side stand, and I'm trying to load him into a carrier on the rack, and I knew he would not be happy about that. So I ultimately decided just to go trike. And overall, I'm very happy with that decision. I'm not really feeling like I'm missing a bike at this point. The trikes are slower than bikes, though, so keep that in mind. Dorian says, wouldn't that be fun to have a convoy of trikes in the desert? Yes, it would, for sure. And she says, I buy everything on the electric site. Lisa says it's a great company. Yes, it is. And I'll give you an example of that, by the way. I think you all saw the video where I loaded up the trike when I was in Borrego Springs, drove it out to Quartzsite. Well, when I took it off, I realized that one of the mirrors that came as a free item, it was a bonus free add-on when I ordered the trike, the mirror on the left-hand side had broken in transit. Not exactly sure how that happened. And I was talking to one of the guys at Electric to straighten out a couple of other questions, which I can no longer remember what they were. And I mentioned that the mirror had broken. And he said, oh. And he looked at the order. He said, well, we'll just send you new ones. I didn't pay for it to begin with, and they sent me replacements. So I think that's pretty daggone cool. Angela says, I used a dog crate wire one with a baby pillow inside because my baby gets hot. Now, we're not talking about your cockatiel, right? Right? The open wire also kept an unleashed one getting from my baby. That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. And I got rid of my wire dog crate when I was camping with another friend, Shalom on the Roam, up in Colorado this summer. I offloaded quite a bit of things to her, actually. But the one that I had would have been too big to be able to put on the trike, I think. And Kit hates that anyway, so probably wouldn't work for me. And Angela says, I'm 58 and I feel it's more safer to have a trike. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I think in many ways it is safer. Certainly you don't have to worry about balancing. And I do have to say, not putting your feet down at a stop is pretty cool. Tuesday says, I love the fact that you take safety into great consideration. I absolutely do. What you probably don't know, Tuesday, because I don't know how long you've been watching the videos, I've had a whole lot of different careers in my lifetime. I joke around and say that I'm a serial entrepreneur because I get bored. I just go start a new business, which, by the way, is a large part of the reason I have a YouTube channel, because I retired from my real estate brokerage and then I got kind of bored. So I needed something to do to keep me occupied. And let me tell you, this really keeps me occupied. Anyway, I used to be a safety engineer. I was an engineering consultant. I had an international engineering consulting firm for about 25 years. And I specialized in systems integration, safety, reliability, maintainability, and so forth. And so, yeah, safety is a thing. I wear belt and suspenders. Well, actually, I don't wear either one. But if I did, I would. Let's see what else we got here. Angela says, no, it was my mini chi. Okay. Oh, hi, Judith. Thanks for being here. You made it to another live. I appreciate that. Lovely to see you here. Okay, we're going to flip back over. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about wellness since we're talking about aging and so forth. Part of what I've realized, well, I'm going to back up for just a minute. We all lie to ourselves. We all do. And if you really think you don't ever lie to yourself, well, let me know that. I'm curious about that. But we all lie to ourselves about how effective we're being in all different areas of our lives. And for me, this is what I realized. When I had my previous RV, which was a Coachman Prism, it was absolute crap. I'm so glad I got rid of that. There was not enough floor space for me to be able to put a yoga mat out. And until I hit the road full time, I had a daily yoga and stretching practice first thing in the morning every day that I did really religiously and within all contexts of that word, actually, because my morning routine involved meditation and yoga and stretching, some journaling, a lot of things. And I would spend the first hour and a half to hour, 45 minutes after I got up working on those things rather than picking up the phone and starting to scroll. It's kind of a much better start to the day as far as I'm concerned. Well, as a full-time nomad, my first excuse for losing my whole morning ritual is that, sorry, I just got a low battery notice. Let me just look at that. Okay, we're good. I want to make, my phone is powering the internet, and I just want to make sure my phone battery is not going to die, and then we lose the stream without intending to. Anyway, I started making excuses for why my morning ritual had just kind of completely gone away after I hit the road full time. And one of the excuses was you do a lot of walking, you're getting plenty of exercise. yeah, okay, fine. Walking is good, but it's not everything we need to be doing. And walking does not really help. It helps with balance to a certain extent. It helps with mobility to a certain extent, but not as much as flexibility does. And that means, yoga, stretching, those kinds of things. And in fact, I started with a 10-minute morning stretch slash yoga routine about a week ago because I said to myself, I'm getting aches and pains where I shouldn't be having aches and pains. I'm feeling more arthritis than I'm really happy with. And in particular, I have lost mobility in both ankles and flexibility in both ankles as a result of breaking my foot in February this year. And I didn't realize that I had a problem with my right foot until my left foot, which had the broken bones, and I was wearing the boot and all of that stuff for that. I didn't realize that I had a problem with the right foot and ankle until the left one started getting better. When that stopped hurting quite as much, then the right one started hurting more. And what I realized was, from the way that I fell, I actually stretched, possibly tore ligaments and tendons in the right ankle. And now that's developed a whole bunch of arthritis that never used to be there before. So for example, if you know about yoga, I can no longer do child's pose at this point. I'm getting closer. I reached the point this morning that I was actually able to touch my heels with my butt. And part of that is the flexibility and mobility in my ankles is keeping me from being able to do that. But in 10 minutes for about a week now, I am already seeing huge improvements in my mobility and flexibility. And it really matters as we age because that's part of what allows us to be able to age gracefully. I used to tell my motorcycle safety students that, I plan to live forever. So far, so good. Well, and then I started modifying it to I plan to live well forever. And that's why I'm pretty picky about what it is that I eat 90% of the time. In terms of getting high quality food, not just what might be available or what might seem appealing at the moment. I try to get a reasonable amount of exercise and I try and do it in a targeted way. And I might end up doing a video series covering, things like mobility, meditation, balance habits, how to be able to do it in an RV. For example, when I get dressed in the morning, I get dressed standing up. And I wasn't able to do that while I was in the boot and my foot was really still quite broken and the bone hadn't fused. But prior to that and subsequently, I get dressed standing up. I put my shoes and socks on, standing on one foot at a time, because all of that stuff is a practice that helps with mobility. It does help with flexibility, not as much as I would like, but it does. And the thing that makes people lose their ability to get around are falls. I don't want to be in that position. So I want to be as good as I can with being as good as I can without making it feel rigid or, oh, I got to do this. And I don't know if any of that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Do any of you have a morning ritual or a morning routine that helps you with your mobility and balance? Let me know what that is. And would a simple 10-minute routine video be helpful for you? Let me know that as well. Marie says, I've wanted a golf cart from my tiny home neighborhood, but feel like it'll make me lazy. But a trike might be a happy medium for taking my trash to the dumpster, going to the pools, etc. And depending on exactly where you are down there, Marie, you might find that it's also an okay thing to ride to the store. Might be. Depends on how much traffic and bike lanes and all that kind of stuff. Tuesday says, how about Tai Chi? I definitely need to start stretching good. Yeah, funny. Among other things, I was joking around with Lisa and Barb the other day. I don't feel like I have enough time for all my hobbies. One of my hobbies is to spend time in virtual reality. I have a VR MetaQuest 3 headset, and I do Tai Chi in VR, which is really a lot of fun. And I can record that and cast it, so I could put it in a video. I probably won't because I have a feeling I'll look really stupid doing that, more stupid than I'm willing to be vulnerable about in a public video on YouTube. But I don't know. I might change my mind. We'll see how that goes. Lisa says, I start every day with stretching in bed at first. That's good. That's a good start. Absolutely. Great way to start your day. And Lisa says, Starbucks, LOL. That's your morning routine, Lisa? Hey, you know, you do you. Angela says, yes, I would like a video. All right, I'll think about doing it. I can guarantee you this, Angela. I'll record it. And I know a lot of people get the impression that I'm not really very vulnerable, but I really am. Or maybe that's my perception of your impression. I don't know. I'll record it, I'll watch it, and then I'll decide whether or not I'm willing to publish it. But I think I know how to record it from an angle that's not going to embarrass me too much. We'll see. Ellen says, I don't have any big projects planned for my trailer, but I'm always making minor tweaks and changes. I've thought that I wanted an e-bike, but I'll hold off to see how my first long trip goes. Yeah, that's a good idea. One of the things that I find is introducing fewer different things at a time gives you a better opportunity to evaluate what it is that you're doing and what you might want to do differently. I think that's a great idea. Angela says, I need to learn how to do this also, Sally. My ankles from being in PD department up and down ladders have caused me a lot of issues. Yeah, and just as we age, it just gets more difficult, which is why I'm willing to at least give a go with doing this kind of publicly, because I think it would be helpful. And the real deal is, and Angela says she's not a camera person either. Well, obviously I am a camera person, whether I intended to be or not. Hey, Laura's here. Good to see you here with black coffee. Good morning to you and Kit. Where's my Kit? Kit, come say hi to Laura. Come say hi to Laura. I'm sorry I couldn't get to the show again this year. I'm hoping I might get there next year. Laura is one of our artists for the Tehachapi Arts Show, which is very, very cool. Really nice to see you here. And Tuesday says, we're just here to learn, Miss Sally. I do hope you find the right angle. Well, yeah, it might be embarrassing, but I'll probably end up doing it for you guys, because one of the things that I think is true, and tell me if it's not true for you, but many times when somebody says, as I've been saying, this is really easy, anybody can do it, my thought is, yeah, well, you can do it, but you're not just anybody. But what I'm proposing is really, really easy, and anybody can do it, truthfully. And in fact, the main routine that I do was started by a monk who was in some kind of accident, a Buddhist monk, some kind of accident or injury, I can't remember exactly what, centuries ago. And basically was told that he was never going to walk again. And the basic routine that I do in the morning is the one that he developed, which got him back to health and back to walking. So if it worked for him, I'm thinking, yeah, pretty good choice. And it is simple because you start from wherever you are. So, for example, one of the movements is called Gomakasanu arms. You don't have to understand the names of the movements. I've just done yoga long enough that I've learned most of the names of the poses that we do. Anyway, with Gomakasanu arms, you should be able to cross your arms behind yourself like this, and theoretically clasp your hands completely like this, right? On one side, initially I was able to just barely touch my fingers. And oh, by the way, when I was doing yoga regularly, and I was younger, I could clasp my hands completely like this. But on one side, I could barely touch. On the other side, I was about this far apart. And at this point, I can clasp fingers on both sides. So about like this. And that's after only a week. So you do it gently, you do it slowly, you start where you are. Yeah, all those things. I'm going to shut up about that for now. Go back and check some more comments here real quick. Outdoor Gypsy is here. Good morning from Prescott. I know how to say Prescott because I've been there. Coming in late. When is the meetup? The meetup is January 16th. And I'm going to say maybe you want to go back and check the beginning of the video because I talked about logistics and stuff like that about the meetup at the beginning. And of course, there'll be more coming out as we get through there. Linda says, not really interested in an e-bike, but really miss my kayak. Would love a small one and get a rack on the van. You know, I thought I was going to get a kayak this year. And I sold my kayak after I'd been on the road for about a year and a half and I still had my house. My kayak was sitting at my house in my garage. And I finally gave up and sold it because I realized that there was no way that I was going to carry a 12-foot fishing kayak on a Class C RV. It just wasn't going to happen for me. And I don't have the ability to be able to put it on a rack on the roof, first of all, because I got my roof covered in solar, but also because it's high. And if you know me at all, you know I don't do height, yada, yada, yada. So there's all of that stuff. I've been looking at folding kayaks. I've had an inflatable kayak before. I'm actually thinking about going to a stand-up paddleboard because I think Kit would like that better than a kayak, although I could be wrong about that. And I may do nothing. But when I sold the kayak, I said, well, if I really want a kayak, I'll just rent one. And what I realized is I've been full-time and for 4 years and I have not rented a kayak yet. So I probably don't need one, even though I think I'd like to have one. But yeah, I would love to have one, but I don't need all the toys. Lisa says that sounds fun for Linda. Angela says, thank you. I do not know anything about yoga. I never heard of it until now. All right, cool. Very cool. Well, I spent 30 years living in California, which I always, kind of called the land of fruits and nuts. I kind of became one in many ways that way. And Lisa says they make a folding kayak you can install on the side of your rig. Yeah, and that's a possibility. I also think that I could probably put a folding kayak on the rack with the trike now. But I don't want to buy a thing that's not getting used, right? So I need to know that I'm going to use it enough to justify the cost of it. That's kind of where I land with stuff. So, we've had a huge uptick in community participation, which I mentioned earlier, and I really appreciate that. We've talked about the personas. I know some of you have been in and out during the live, but I'm curious, which persona showed up most in your week? Wandering Joe, Practical Patty, or Tinker Tom? Just, drop a comment. And I'm going to thank you all so much for joining me this morning. So if this is your first live with me, my goal is to keep my lives between 30 and 45 minutes because I think it's really important to be respectful of your time. And I will tell you the truth, when people run on for an hour and more on their lives, I won't even watch the replay. I think it's boring. And if I think it's boring, I don't want to be boring. So that's where I come from with this. But thank you so much for being here. Your participation makes these coffee talks one of my favorite parts of the month, and I hope you really enjoy it as well. And if you did enjoy hanging out, please give the stream a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you want to support the channel in a bigger way, memberships start at 99 cents. You just hit the join button on YouTube. They include recognition badges, early access to videos, and more. The links will be down below in the description below. And yeah, we're going to take one more look at comments here before we say goodbye for real. And Lisa says, I need to take off shortly. Hugs and waves. Bye. Tuesday says, have a groovy day. That's always the plan. Angela says, Sally, you have a great day, sweetheart. I will always watch you no matter how long, my friend. Thank you so much. Barb Connor says, good chat. Sorry, got a commercial, honey. Yeah, I bet you did. And I can't do anything about that. Sorry about that. And for those of you that are picking this up on the replay, you'll probably get more commercials. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. Judith, lovely to see you. You have a safe week as well. Marie, glad to be here. Glad to have you here. And we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.